Hello students. So in the previous class we were talking about that of the valency and how can we find the valency of an element. So we had discussed the different methods by which we can find the valency. What is valency, student? Valency is the combining capacity of the element. Either it can lose electron or it can gain electron to complete its octet. So in some book you will get the proper definition, and that is the valency is the combining capacity, either losing or gaining of the electrons to complete its octet and become stable. We studied that how can we find the valency. So when we do the configuration of the element and divide them into different shell, then we have seen that in the first cell only 2 electrons will be accommodated, in the second it will be 8, and after that 8 will be accommodated in the different shells. Okay, so by that how much electron is needed to complete its octet, or how much electron should be lost by that of the that particular shell, so that it will become stable, so that it will become 0 and thus it will become stable. Okay, so every time the atom it wants to complete its octet. Okay, so if whatever the electron is needed to complete the octet of the shell will determine the valency of that particular element. Okay, so this is the first method that we had discussed about that. The second method, that you know that all the compound which is formed, basically it is consisting of two things, and that is cations and anions. Cations are what, student? Which consisting of the positive charge. Anion which consisting of the negative charge. Okay, so when this positive charge and that of the negative charge, they combine together, then they form a neutral molecule or neutral compound. So we had discussed that whatever the charge of that particular ion will be there, that will determine the valency. If we say that Na positive, so how much charge has sodium ion consisting of? That is +1. So the valency of the sodium, it will be 1. So this is for the sodium ion whose valency is 1. That is 1. If suppose we will take a calcium, so calcium is +2. So charge will be +2 and the valency of the calcium will also be 2. If we take the aluminium, students, so aluminium charge is +3. So the charge is +3, so valency it will be 3. So you see here in cation, whatever the plus charge is there, that will determine the valency of that particular cation. Now if we see that of the anion, student, the same thing will be followed like that of the cation. So in anion, student, like bromine is there. So it is having -1. So charge is -1. So valency will be 1. Okay, if we take oxygen, so the charge on the oxygen is -2, so the valency it will be also 2. Okay, if we take that of the nitrogen, the charge on the nitrogen is -3 and thus the valency of the nitrogen is 3. Okay, likewise if you see that we had discussed the polyatomic ions also. So in polyatomic ion, they also consisting of the charges. Like we had discussed about that of the sulfate, which consisting of the charges -2. If we talk about the hydroxide, that consisting of a -1. If we talk about the PO4, that consisting of a -3. If we talk about the carbonate, that will consisting of the minus 2. It will be 3, CO3 -2. So you can see here, so it is, since it is having, the sulfate is having the charge -2, so valency of the sulfate will be 2. This hydroxide ion is having the valency, having the charge of a -1, so valency will be 1. If this phosphate ion is having the valency -3, so the charge is -3, so the valency will also 3. Here also the same, that will be valency, since the charge on that of the carbonate is -2, so the valency will be 2. So by this you have understood that whatever the charge is present on that particular ion will decide the valency. Okay, but if we have to find that of the valency of a particular element, then you have to see that what is the combining capacity of the element, and the best way to do the electronic configuration, divide them into 2, 8, 8 and further, and by that you will understand that how much electron it should gain to complete its octet or lose to complete its octet. Okay. So on that basis we have discussed about the valency, as well as we discussed that how can we give formula to that of the compound. So you know student, the valency help in finding the formula, help in giving the chemical formula of a compound. Like if suppose we talk about the sulfuric acid. So sulfuric acid consisting of a hydrogen and that of the sulfate. You know that the valency of the hydrogen is 1, while that of the sulfate is 2, and after that when you crisscross each other, then what we will get, that is H2SO4. Okay, that is sulfuric acid. You can write it like that, sulfate is 1 here. Okay, so hydrogen's valence, the sulfate valency will go to that of the hydrogen. It will be as a subscript of that of the hydrogen, and that of the hydrogen valency will be the subscript of that of the sulfate ion. Okay, so by this, by crisscross each other, by exchanging the valency to each other, we will get that chemical formula. Now today we will discuss the other, how to find the other chemical formulas, as well as we will talk about that of the molecular mass. So we will discuss about the how to name to that of the compound with the help of that valency. By finding the valency, we will give the formula. We will also understand that some of the questions which is related to that of the molecular mass. But before we go further and understand all these things, we should know the how can we give name to that of a simple binary molecules. So for that student, there are some rules which we have to follow so that we can give the name, or we can do the naming of the molecular compound. So the first thing in that of the simple binary or a simple binary molecular compound is that if suppose a compound is there, and in that compound the two elements are present in it. Okay, so first element and that of the second element is there. So the first element of that compound, when we write it, it should be written as such. Okay, so the first compound first element of that particular compound is written as such. Let me tell you one thing student, the first element in a given compound is also less electronegative. So we can say that it is less electronegative. It consisting of a positive charge, so we can say that it is a less electronegative. This electronegativity you will study in the further classes. Till that you understand that the first element in a given compound, we will write the name of that particular element as such without changing the name. Okay. Now what about the second one? In case of the second element student, at the end of that particular element name, we will add a "ide" there. Okay, so we can say that in the second element of that particular compound, we will write the name by adding "ide" at ending or at the end. Okay, so if suppose we are going to give the name, so the first element of the compound, we will write it for the name of that particular element as such, without showing any change, without doing any kind of a change in the name of that first element. But in the second element, which is also more electronegative, which is the more electronegative, so in that of the second element, we will add "ide" at the ending. Okay, so we can understand this like if suppose if a sodium chloride is there or sodium bromide, so NaBr is given to you. So how will you write or how will you give the name of this particular compound? So here it will be sodium. The sodium is the first one, which is less electronegative, and the second one is the bromine, which is more electronegative. So we will write here bromide, sodium bromide. So like that, if an oxygen is there which is more electronegative, so in place of the writing it oxygen, we will write here oxide. Like if you say in case of a CO2. Okay, so carbon is less electronegative. It is the first element. So we will write here as a carbon. There is no change in the name of the first element. It will be written as such. Then the second one, oxygen is there, and this oxygen is more electronegative, or this oxygen is at the second place. So in place of writing here dioxygen, we can simply write it as a dioxide. So like that oxygen, if a fluorine is there, so we will write here fluoride. If a chlorine is there, we will write here chloride. Okay. So these are what? If a more electronegative element is there, that in place of writing the name as such, at the end of the name, we will add a "ide" there. Now what happened in the second one, the second rule of naming of the simple binary molecule, that we should add the prefix. Prefix, it means the number of an atom attached with each of the element. So we should always add the prefix of each of the element by mentioning the di, tri, tetra, penta, whatever the number of atom is present as a subscript in that of the formula, in that of the given formula. So you will write here that the prefix like di, tri, tetra, etc. should be mentioned while writing, should be mentioned for each element. Okay, for each element of the given compound. So the prefix should be added. Like right now we discussed about that of the carbon oxide. So you see here student, the first rule was that we have to write the first element as such, and you can see here how many number of atom are there attached with that of the carbon, that is one only. One more thing is there, we can write di, tri, tetra or that of the penta or hexa, but we will never mention it as a mono. So mono means what? One. So if there is no subscript is present, it means this is a one atom only. Okay. So if it is a one atom, for writing for one we can write mono, but no student, we will never mention mono while writing the prefixes. Okay. So we will write carbon as such because the number of a carbon atom is one here. So we will write here carbon. Okay. Now the second element, you know, it is more electronegative. So electronegative it is there, so oxide. But prefix, we have to write prefix means the things which you write at first. Sorry. So if suppose oxygen is there and this oxygen is consisting of a 2 atom students. So we have to write here di. So prefix is what? Which we will write at first. Prefix means पहले. जिस चीज को पहले रखते हैं, that is prefix. Okay. So before oxygen, before writing the oxide, we will mention the prefix here, and that is 2. And for 2, we will write here di. So the formula is carbon dioxide. You can understand it by another formula, like if PCl3 is there, PCl3. So you see student, this is a phosphorus. Okay, so only one phosphorus is there, so no need to write the monophosphorus. We will simply write the name here, and since it is less electronegative, or we can say that this is the first element, so we will write the name of this particular element as such without doing any kind of a change in it. So phosphorus chloride. How many number of chlorine atom is attached with this particular element? That is 3. So here we will write tri. So the name will be phosphorus trichloride. Okay, so here we are following both the rules. We are adding the prefixes also, as well as we are writing the name as because the chloride is what? It is more electronegative. It is the second element, and the first element there is no change at all. Another one like N2O5. Now, in this case, both of the element is having the prefixes. Okay, here nitrogen is 2, means 2 atom of a nitrogen is present, and here the 5 as the subscript of that of the oxygen is there. So, what is the name? What will be the name of this formula? So, you see student, nitrogen, we will not going to change the nitrogen here because this is the first element. So, we will write here as a nitrogen. Okay, but this nitrogen is consisting of 2 atoms in it. So, we will write here dinitrogen oxide. And how many number of oxygen is there? That is 5. So, we will write here dinitrogen pentaoxide. Pentaoxide. Okay, so dinitrogen pentaoxide. We will write nitrogen as such, oxide, that is the oxygen, and 5 oxygen is there. So we will write here pentaoxide, dinitrogen pentaoxide. So for now you have understood that how we will write this simple binary molecule. Now if we see the third point of this naming of the molecular compounds. So the third point that, okay, we are writing the prefixes here, but what happens if the first element is hydrogen? Okay, so see student, if the first element is hydrogen, if the hydrogen, then no prefix will be added, no prefix will be given to that particular name of the compound. So, no prefix will be added or given, or we will write in the prefix in that of the particular compound. Now, you see here, for example, H2S. So, you see here student, hydrogen is there. So, we will write here hydrogen. Right? Now, number of a hydrogen atom is there, that is 2. So, we should write here dihydrogen. Right? And this is sulfur. So, sulfur, instead of sulfur, what we will write here? Sulfide. Right? It is more electronegative, second element. So, we will mention the ide there. So, dihydrogen sulfide. Is it correct? No. Why? Because the hydrogen is there as a first element, and when hydrogen is there as a first element, we will never mention the prefix with it. So the name of this particular compound, it will be hydrogen sulfide instead of a dihydrogen sulfide. Okay. Now if we see the fourth point, students, so in the naming of that of the simple molecular compounds, the fourth point is, in most of the time we will use the scientific name, or we can say we will use that of the we will use that of the common name instead of that of the scientific name. So for example, if suppose a H2O is there. So in H2O, you will always understand H2O as a water, right? You will never say that this is actually the hydrogen oxide. No, this is wrong one. So for such a compound, we use in many of the compounds, we will give the common name instead of that of the scientific name. Like that of the CH4. So we will never write it as a carbon tetrahydride. No, hydrogen can be written as a hydride if it is at the second place. Okay, so hydride. So we will never write it like a carbon tetrahydride. No, it is known as methane. Or if suppose we take another one, and that is NH3. So in case of a NH3, we will never write it like the nitrogen trihydride. No, we always mention it as a ammonia. Or H2SO4 is there. So we will give the name of this as a sulfuric acid. So these are the some of the molecules. And how can we write the name of this simple binary molecules? So there are some rules that we have studied, that how can we give the name. Now this is the case for that of the simple binary molecule, student. Now if we talk about that, how can we name to that of the ionic compound? It means if a formula or if a compound is having that of the positive and the negative ion, or an ionic compound is there, it means ions are present in it, then for that you have to follow the same criteria as we had discussed, but we will never use the prefix. So prefix like di, tri, tetra is not used while ionic compound. So while naming that of the ionic compound, we will never write the di, tri or tetra as a prefix there. So there are a lot more examples like that of the sodium sulfate, that is Na2SO4. Okay, so here the two sodium is there and SO4 sulfate is present here, but for that Na is a positive charge, sulfate is -2 charge. So we always write that is the disodium or that of the sulfate. We will never write it. We will simply write the name here, that is sodium is there and SO4 is sulfate, so sodium sulfate. Like that, if a calcium chloride is there, so you see student, the formula of a calcium chloride, if CaCl2 is given there, so here Ca is having +2 charge and chlorine is having -1. So these two are the ionic compound, and thus the name of these ionic compound is, first one is the calcium as usual, and the second one is the second element or second ion which is more electronegative. So again we will write here, that is chloride. Okay, so calcium chloride is there. We do not use the prefix for it. Okay. A lot more other examples are there, like that of the potassium phosphate is there. So all these are examples. If you see that although there is a subscript is there are different number of atoms attached with it, but we will never mention that of the prefixes while writing the formula of the ionic compound. So this is what we have studied about that of the naming. How can we name that of the binary compound or that of the ionic compound? Now student, we will try to find the name of this formulas of the different compound, students. So you see here, aluminium is there. This aluminium is consisting of 2 atoms in it, and sulfate is there. Students, I told you that aluminium is having the charge that is 3 positive, and that of the sulfate is having the charge that is 2 negative. Okay, so this is what it is, a cation, and this one is the anion, and both the ions they combine together to give the formula to this particular, or to make the formula of that particular compound. So if you see with the valency also, the valency of the aluminium will be 3 here, and that of the sulfate it will be 2 here. When you crisscross each other, then you will get this formula, that is Al2SO4 whole thrice. Okay. So since you are knowing that while writing the name to that of the particular ionic compound, we will never mention the prefixes which is given here. So what will be the name of this particular ionic compound is aluminium. The second one is the sulfate, so it will be aluminium sulfate. Okay, aluminium sulfate. If you see the second one, so here also it is the same thing, like calcium is there, so calcium, and chlorine is there. So the charge on that of the calcium is +2, and charge on that of the chlorine is -1. So this, the valency of the calcium will be 2, valency of the chlorine will be 1. Okay, so then they crisscross each other, and then there is a formula, that is CaCl2, Ca1 Cl2. This will give this formula here. So the name will be calcium, and the chlorine is attached with it. There will be no prefix we should add, so clear calcium chloride. Okay. Okay students, so right now when we were writing about the valency of this particular ionic, that of the particular ion or the cation, then we had written here according to their charge. If suppose you have to find the valency as we had studied in that of the element, in that of the particular molecular compound, then you see here student, the atomic number of the calcium is 20. Okay, so atomic number of a calcium is 20. So if suppose we want to find the valency of the calcium by using the electronic configuration, I told you that in the first cell, when we divide this atomic number while writing the electronic configuration, at the first one we will write here 2. Then because the first cell will accommodate only the 2 electrons in it, and after that all the different cell will accommodate the 8 electron. So 2 will be there. So out of 20, 2 electron will goes to that of the cation. Then 8 electron will enter into the next shell. Okay. So 8 plus 2, 10. Still 10 electrons are left in case of the calcium. Right. So again the next shell will accommodate only 8 electron. So 10 plus 8, that will be 18. Now, how much electron is left in case of the that of the calcium having the atomic number 20? So you will say that is 2. So except that of the first cell which accommodate only 2 electron, all the other cell can accommodate 8 electron. Only 8 electron. It will be never be like 9. Okay. So if 8 electron is there, it means now it is stable. It is fulfilled. So the electron will start filling the next cell. Okay. So here again it is fulfilled. It is stable. So after 8 electrons, still 2 electrons are left in case of the calcium having atomic number 20. So that 2 electron will goes to that of the next shell. So you see here students, so last shell will decide the valency. Remember that. This last shell, the electron which enter into the last shell of the atom will decide the valence, will decide that of the valency. This we called a valence electron. Now you see here, so here two electrons are there. If suppose this particular element wants to be stable, for stability it must need the 8 electron in the last shell. Okay, so last shell must have a 8 electron. At that time this electron or this particular element will be stable. Okay, so now see here student, at the last shell 2 electrons is there. Okay, so if suppose this element lose this 2 electron from the shell. Okay, so if it loses 2 electron from the cell, how much electron is left in the last shell now? That is 8. Okay, so now 8 electrons are there and it is stable. So if calcium will lose 2 electron, then it will become stable, and thus the valency of the calcium is 2. Because to become stable, to complete it or its octet, if it loses 2 electron from it, then it will be stable. Okay, so for stability it have to lose the 2 electrons. So valency is defined as the number of electrons loosed or gained by that of the particular element so that its octet will be completed. It means the last shell must have 8 electrons in it. Okay, except hydrogen and helium, which is having only the atomic number 1 and 2. Okay, so here the charge is +2. If it is not given, you can write the valency is 2 here. Now if you talk about the calcium student, according to that of chlorine student, so the atomic number of the chlorine is 17. Now if suppose we want to find the valency with the help of that of the electronic configuration, so see here, from 17, 2 electron will enter into the first cell. So in the first cell, it will the first cell can accommodate only 2 electrons. After 2 electron, it will not going to accommodate any of the electron which is coming from that of the chlorine. Okay, so after 2 electrons, the other electron will start entering into the next shell. Okay, so after 2 electrons, 8 will be there in the next shell. So 8 plus 2 is 10. Still 7 electrons are there. Okay, so in the next one, the 7 electrons will be there. Why 7? Because you know that it can accommodate 8 electrons. Okay, so 7 can accommodate it by that of the third shell. Now you see here student, last shell is having 7 electrons. So how much electrons it will lose or it will gain to complete its octet? So you will say that to complete its octet or the last shell, if want to complete or if want to be stable, it need 1 electron. So if 1 electron it will gain, then it will become 8 here, and thus the chlorine it will become a stable atom. So if it loses 1 electron, it will become stable. It will complete its octet. So valency of this chlorine will be 1. Okay. So by this also you can find it, or if very good, if you are knowing the charges, so with the help of the charges you are able to find the valency of this particular compound. So calcium chloride, that is. Okay. So the name we will give to it is calcium chloride. Now you see here, potassium is there, sulfate is there, this is +2, this is -2, ionic compound, so we will write here simply as a potassium sulfate. Here also potassium is there, NO3 is known as a nitrate, so we will write here potassium nitrate. Last one, calcium is there and CO3. I told you the CO3 is what? CO3 2-, that is a carbonate or a polyatomic ion. So the name of this particular compound is calcium carbonate. So since these are actually the combination of the two ions, so these are the ionic compounds, thus we will not going to give the prefixes there and we will simply write the name as such. Okay.